Are you ready to feel old? Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion is 15 years old. 15 years old! You're welcome. That's right, folks. Bethesda's open-world role-playing action game is 15 years old. What were you doing 15 years ago? Personally, I was about to finish my penultimate year in secondary school, so I was probably trying and failing to get a girlfriend. I was probably eating too much fast food with my paper round money, though most of the papers ended up in recycling, so I was mainly being paid for recycling newspapers. Oblivion is a special game for me, as it's not only the first Elder Scrolls game I played, but it's the first Bethesda game I played, and started what can only be described as an obsession with the studio ever since. But Oblivion was more than just a title in a studio to me. Oblivion is the true reason I love and play video games to this day. When I think about it, Bethesda games have full control of my favourite games of all time list. Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 4, New Vegas and 4 all feature in at least my top 15 games of all time. I love Bethesda games, and now Microsoft own them, and there's a strong possibility of those titles being Xbox exclusive. On a side note, I'm more towards the side that believes they will be. I have never been so convinced I'll be buying an Xbox, or at least Game Pass, so I can continue playing my favourite franchises. Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6, I now speak directly to you. I will play you even if I have to buy an Xbox. Or I could just use my housemates. Certainly a good way to save money. But back to Oblivion. This is a celebration of Oblivion, not a love letter to Bethesda. Though actually, Bethesda, if you are watching, please just make a version of Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6 for me. I will definitely play them, but think how much more fun I would have if there was a platinum trophy. I can send nudes. Focus! Back to Oblivion. Oblivion was released on the 20th of March 2006 on the Xbox 360 and PC, with the PS3 version arriving a year later in March 2007. The Xbox and PC versions were co-published by 2K Games, the Borderlands people, and came out to pretty bloody good reviews. I haven't been able to find a concrete reason of why the game was only released on Xbox and PC for the first year. The only real suggestions I can find is that the PS3 was still in its first year, so more people owned Xbox 360s, and there's the fact that the Xbox 360 base system was actually easier to develop for. If these aren't the reason, then fair enough, but if you know the actual reason, please let me know. It's going to annoy me for a very long time. The development team of Oblivion was overseen by Ken Ralston, who was also a designer on Elder Scrolls III Morrowind. Work started on Oblivion pretty much straight after Morrowind's release in 2002, so the poor guy didn't get much of a rest. It was officially announced in 2004, and I do wish I could go back to that time and see what the reaction was. One thing I think Bethesda do really well, for the most part, is create games with realistic stories, make very believable and real characters, and minus a very few exceptions, they don't put pointless quests for quest's sake in video games. All this started with Oblivion, which definitely contains improved AI. That's artificial intelligence for the NPCs if you weren't sure. Todd Howard himself said the goal of Oblivion was, and I quote, to create the quintessential RPG of the next generation. And my goodness did they achieve their goal. There's over 200 hours of gameplay available to you, side quests coming out of every cave, beautiful scenic views, fantastic voice acting, including Sean Bean, and a fantastic array of weapons. And perhaps most importantly, a great series of exploits. I remember discovering for the first time if you crouched when you were in your first cell at the beginning of the game and walk up to the jail cell door, your sneak level will go up and up and up. The character's level up system also left itself open for exploits. The way it worked was you had 6, key skills that would add to your overall level up score. So if you had one-handed weapons in that bracket, every time your one-handed weapon leveled up, it would add points to your overall level up bar, and that's how the game decided if you were ready to level up from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, etc. The other skills that weren't in this top bracket had no effect on your level up score. So even if the skill was level 100, if it wasn't in that top bracket, it wouldn't affect your overall character level up score. So in order not to not level up, you'd put skills you would never use into that core skills for level up. That way, you could have level 100 archery or one-handed weapons and still be level 1. And another way to cheat the level up system was the fact you had to sleep before the game leveled you up. I have to complete the whole game on level 1 and just refuse to sleep for the whole thing. I don't want to ramble too long about the development of Oblivion, but perhaps it would be interesting to do a deep dive in the history of Elder Scrolls in general. Let me know if that would be of great interest to you. But what about my own personal experiences with Oblivion? I first played Oblivion at my now housemate's house on the Xbox 360. I went round after school and he said, "I have this game you have to try. It's called Oblivion." Because I have no willpower to say no, I agreed and I watched him play Oblivion. Not sure what happened to the "you should try" bit. This was a big moment for me. I'd always enjoyed video games before this. Croc Legend of the Gobos, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Sonic were all games I have fond memories of in my younger days, but my PS2 gaming was limited to Crash Bandicoot The Wrath of Cortex, James Bond Agent Under Fire, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses. The only game I would say I was obsessed with was Pokemon. For me, the only game on the planet at that time was Pokemon. I had no interest in anything else. Oblivion changed that for me. It opened my eyes, for lack of a better expression. Actually, it double-jointed me thumbs. Anyway, I enjoyed video games before playing Oblivion, but after playing Oblivion, I loved video games and became nothing short of obsessed, an obsession which still sees me probably play more video games that's healthy even today. I suddenly realised there was a whole world of games to explore, and I've never looked back since. I bought Oblivion for myself in 2007 along with my first self-bought console, the PlayStation 3. I had never saved so much money in my life. I saved pocket money, paper round income, and even did extra chores to get more money. The grind was real, as some would say. My biggest disappointment nowadays with Oblivion was that it doesn't have trophies. It didn't bother me back then, but in my recent "I did every trophy on the planet" phase, it bothers me a lot. The Xbox had achievements, but the PlayStation didn't have trophies. You can't see it, but I'm pulling a sad face right now. I also bought the video game guide, which was thicker than War and Peace. It contained information on all missions and side quests, all weapons, character builds and lore. Me and my friends still to this day refer to it as the Bible. It answered all of our Oblivion questions. We even got to the point where we referred to the Skyrim game guide as the New Testament. I wish there was a way I could find out how many hours I put into Oblivion. I can guarantee it's more than 200 hours. Over the years, I learned every nook and cranny of the game, and still to this day, I could probably find my way around blindfolded. Oblivion would make a fantastic TV show. And at Bethesda again, I have lots of ideas. Hook me up. I think sadly, Skyrim overshadows Oblivion to some extent. Its newer graphics and gameplay make the game more appealing to first-time players, but just imagine a world. Imagine it. Close your eyes and imagine it. Imagine a world where we have Oblivion with Skyrim graphics and gameplay mechanics. Boom. What a lovely world. I still stand by the fact that Oblivion is better than Skyrim. The story is certainly better. This isn't me saying Skyrim is a bad game, by the way, but I think given a little bit more TLC, Oblivion would be placed slightly higher on Bethesda's almighty pedestal. Just so it's out there, Fallout 3 is my favourite Bethesda title. It's not important, but I just really wanted to say it. I would love to see Oblivion fully remastered and released on all consoles, mostly so the PlayStation can finally get the Oblivion Platinum trophy we've all been craving. Well, I've been craving, but I'm going to say we've all been craving because it sounds more dramatic. But at the very least, I expect Oblivion to receive an FPS, frames per second, boost for the Xbox Game Pass. As always, thank you so much for listening to me ramble about video games. Your comments, likes and shares mean the world to me and the other Team Thumbs members. As always, please give us a like, share this video with people, let us know in the comments your thoughts on Oblivion, and I'll hopefully see you again in another video really soon. That's all for now. That's all I've got. And remember, Spider-Man is the greatest game ever made. Bye!